there was actually a use case where a small business submitted their application in less than 5 minutes. They were approved in less than 5 minutes, and they were spending in less than 5 minutes. So imagine in less than 15 minutes, and it came through a trusted and the guy was a very, very well-off individual. He knew the founder, but we were able to do their KYC, KYB, their open banking, everything, issue him a loan of $10,000, and through digital card, he was spending in within 5 minutes. And he was in an awe because he said, and he was a very wealthy individual. He's banking with one of the big banks in Canada. It's like, never in my life, in less than 15 minutes, that I'll be able to do what I was able to do with you guys. And that was our main value proposition, like very, very secure, low risk, very credible small businesses in Canada, which are underserved. Let's serve them well. And banks is that if I have $1 million, I cannot have that $1 million under my mattress, right? Because I'll be scared that someone is going to come and take this from me, right? If I'm $100 million, that's a bigger problem, right? So that's why you need the banks, right? You're banking your money. You're banking your future in someone else's thing, and this is secured for you. So this is why the banks exist. Now, over time, banks have become way more innovative, and they started to give a little bit of interest on it. But now, over time, to manage all of this extreme wealth, they need technology, because you cannot just go and get a deposit slip and stay in the line to deposit your money. So you need a vehicle. So technology becomes an enabler to service the banking customers, right? So
if you have to give one piece of advice, either to your younger self or to the future younger generation, what would you like to share?
Don't waste time on things that can be done differently, right? Time is precious. Every minute that you have, you need to find your passion earlier on and continue to work on it, and never second guess yourself. Always believe that there's a way to do things your way, and universe comes around and helps you if you believe in yourself. So never stop believing in yourself, but the end result has to be meaningful, and it has to be humane, and God always helps you, and the world also helps you.
Okay. In a world filled with possibilities, one truth stands out. Everyone is a pathfinder in their own journey. Whether it's charting new territories in leadership, embracing the future with technology, or nurturing humanity, pathfinders are everywhere. Pathfinders, a platform built for everyone. We believe in the power of connection, the spark of curiosity, and the potential to inspire. Here we bring people together, not just as professionals, but as dreamers, thinkers, and change makers. Through engaging podcasts, thought-provoking digital conferences, and dynamic audio roundtables, and many more, we create spaces for meaningful conversations. We celebrate those who seek to understand, innovate, and lead. People like you. Pathfinders inspires. Pathfinders embraces technology. And above all, Pathfinders spreads a vision where leadership, innovation, and humanity converge to shape a better and brighter future. We are here to connect, to build bridges that transcend barriers, to share stories that matter, and to foster a community driven by passion and purpose. Be a part of this journey. Be a Pathfinder. Welcome to Pathfinders. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Khurram, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Let me introduce you properly. Khurram is a visionary leader, entrepreneur who has left a mark across multiple industries, including the financial sector. With a career spanning over 2 decades, he has consistently demonstrated his ability to turn complex challenges into groundbreaking opportunities. Khurram Khalil is a co-founder and chief product officer at Caary Capital, a business credit and spend management platform. Khurram is best known for his expertise in banking and FinTech, where his leadership and forward thinking approach have inspired teams and transformed organizations. As a driving force behind key leadership positions at iconic firms like Manulife, Bank of Montreal, CIBC, Scotiabank, Meridian, and many others, he has not only spearheaded remarkable achievements, but also championed values of resilience, collaboration, and impact driven success. Beyond his professional accolades, Khurram is deeply committed to mentoring the next generation of leaders. He's also a passionate squash player. He plays and actively trains squash members, and he coaches them and like makes them candidates for to win tournaments. Clearly reflects his belief in coaching, mentoring, and empowering others to reach their success. In today's conversation, we'll delve into Khurram's incredible journey, his thoughts on the future of financial world, and his insights on what it takes to stay ahead in the ever-changing world. Khurram, welcome to the show. It's such a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you very much, Vijayan. Not only that you are a good mentor and a leader in your space, you're also a good friend. So happy to have a quick conversation and talk about life in journal and fintech and technology and whatever else comes our way.
Yeah. Thanks for your time again. And like, how do you describe? I probably said like 2 decades. It's probably over 3 decades. I'm sure. Like, how do you describe your like more than 3 decades of your journey? If you have to put it in few words, how do you describe it?
So like like if you look at my life, it has got um two things going in, right? So one is of course my passion for technology, and the other one is my passion of creating something of value, like a business enterprise where you leave something for your next generation to continue on with, right? So if you combine both of them, and initially I started my career as a technologist. I was a database administrator. I was also tried to do programming in my early career days. Did not like it and went into functional consulting with SAP and Oracle Financials. And then moved into then I moved to Canada and then started my journey with Manulife and Scotiabank and a whole slew of banks.
Right.
And one thing that I always felt was missing when I first came to Canada, like as a new immigrant, you have to settle down first, of course. But at some point, you say, okay, so now I've settled down. I know how this economy works. I know everything works. So let's continue on the entrepreneurial passion. And that's what's led to a few startups. But the last one is, of course, the most significant one, Caary Capital, where we issued a credit card, a small business credit card inspired by Brex and Ramp, and scaled up the business significantly, raised 25 million plus capital, $25 million in this journey, and learned a lot about fintech from a different point of view, like uh, and about yourself as well as an entrepreneur, and things to do and things not to do. um,
Got it.
so like so basically this is like just a very high level view of how my life is. So half technologist, half business and different big corporations, and a half entrepreneur. So if you divide my
Got it.
life in 33.33%, this is how my life sums up to be.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Uh, if you have to like describe your like what stood out in the last 30 years, if you
Yeah.
close your mind and close your eyes and then think about it, what stood out in the last 30 years?
Well, like in terms of like if I look at if you look at Canada, like I'll start with my recent journey. Like I've seen Canada in the last 20-25 years transform a lot, right? When I first came to Canada, and I remember walking down the Bay Street for the first time, and you will
Right.
see like just two
Right.
Indian people and saying hi to them, and just because you want to relate to someone. And now it's like the other way around. You see like to other local ethnicity, everything else is like immigrant. And the growth of banking, like I started in a banks and I'll see, I'm like, wait a minute, they're doing things too slow, versus now the banks are like transforming very fast as well. So the fintech has is continued to evolve. And then in the last 7 to 8 years, saw like different industries pop up, like cannabis being one,
Mm.
significant growth there. So Canada is a country that is from a very dormant state as evolving, changing, trying to reinvent. We are still very risk averse people, I would say, like as compared to Americans.
Right.
Americans like everything is 10 times, which is one cliche, but the other is the mindset as well, right? Even if
Mm,
Canadians do have their capital, they would not put their capital to risk the same way as American would, right? Um,
got it.
that's in Canada. In US, what is
Do you think, I mean, like, quick, do you think that is
yeah.
limiting the growth of the country as such? I mean, being risk averse?
Yeah, if you read any of the economist reports, most of the reports do say that we are lagging in productivity, like across,
Mm,
right? And which is unfortunate because with all the new immigrants coming in, bringing their new mindset, I think we are not harnessing their power well. I think we are still
mm,
there is somewhere there's a miss in this picture, and I'm in no way, shape, or form an expert in these things, but
got it.
absolutely, like from the startup point of view, I do see huge opportunities where like no one would come and support you as a new guy in this industry, which is fine. I think is competitiveness as well, but again, the size of the market does not just not support a net new business, right? Which is
Mm,
a bit different. um,
right,
but also I was in Middle East last year, and I saw
right,
like a lot of innovation happening there as well. Actually, too much innovation, just because it's the regulatory. There is pretty much no regulatory body. If like the prince wants you to do something, you just do it, I guess.
right. Yeah,
So, so, and I think this is how China grew so fast as well, because it's pluses and minuses as well. But the plus is always in those super fast growing economies that there is no regulatory or compliance. If the visionary up there sees things a certain way, he just says
right,
go do it and don't worry about anything else.
right,
Wherein I think in Canada it's still very bureaucratic in certain ways, and
right,
things are changing, but the thing is that you are competing against China's, India's, Brazil's, Middle East of these world. These are all global economies. So
yeah,
yeah, I understand the change is going to happen, but is it going to happen fast enough, right? And that's I think that's where Vijayan, you, myself, like entrepreneurs come in and say that once in a while, try to come up with a really good idea and say, okay, let's try to scale it up and try to make it a more like a SaaS platform, right?
got
So
it. Yeah,
so anyway, so this is what my mindset is. Um, Yep. Do you have just give me one
yeah,
second? I think as usual, there are 25 people start to ping me the moment you are in a call like this.
yeah.
So I'll try to
Tell
juggle
them you
that
will
as
not
well.
respond. I mean,
Yeah. And I'm trying to reschedule some of the calls as we go along, but this is on me. This is completely on me. Yeah.
that's totally cool. It's happens all the time. The the other day we before starting our podcast, we told our guests, like, yeah, turn off your Outlook and then let's get started. I mean, it's fine. I mean, we get
Yeah.
bombarded with notifications, so
Yeah.
I can go when you're good to go.
No, no, continue on. I'm just doing a little bit of work like everyone else does, but please, sorry about that. And again, continue on.
Yeah, no, I was hoping to get a peek into your journey as such, in terms of like how were like the early days before, like even before arriving in Toronto or Canada. How was growing up like? I know you have you were born in Pakistan, correct? Like, and
Yeah.
yeah. And I'd like to know how I've never visited the country. I'd love to visit someday. But how was the early days? How was growing up like?
Yeah, so funny enough, you asked me that. I actually I was born in East Pakistan, which is now Bangladesh, right?
Got
So
it.
my
Oh,
parents,
oh, not
yeah,
in like Karachi or Lahore or Islamabad. It's
no,
like the Dhaka.
I was born in Chittagong, which is
Okay,
kind of like yeah, close to Dhaka in
got
Bangladesh.
it, got it, got it.
So I was born there, and then I think 2 days after that, it fell apart, and then it was back like when I was born, like I think 24 hours, within 24 hours from calling it East Pakistan, it became Bangladesh.
Oh, okay,
So my family had to migrate back to West Pakistan,
got
and
it,
then I grew up in Pakistan, Punjab. Uh,
got it.
so, but But yeah, and I see my parents, and God bless them, the resilience that they have. My dad, for example, has to face two migrations. One from when India parted with Pakistan, like back in the day. He's not that old, but he was still a young boy. So he has to
Right.
part, saying, "Okay, we cannot live in India. Like we have to go." And by the way, more than half of my family is still in India.
Right.
And so he moved to East Pakistan, and then East Pakistan fell, and he moved to West Pakistan. So in one lifetime, seeing two migrations is, I think it's a
Yeah.
bit of a toll. And now he's living in Canada. So that's, if you think about it, that's the third country that he switched. So adapting to all three countries, it's hard. And so I look at my parents, my dad and my mom, for inspiration, that if they can
Right.
do it, um, like three times in their lifetime, and start from zero and then build a life, and start from zero and build a life. So
Right.
for us, we are still lucky, right? We just had to do it once.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that you and my kids, they would never have to go through it ever again, right? They're stable in Canada. It's our country, and we love it.
Yeah.
And then yeah, it's a great base for them to prosper and do whatever they want to do in their lives.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
had. I don't know if I told you. Like I've met some of the amazing people. I met my first ever person from Pakistan in the US, and
Come.
I'm originally from India, as you know, already, and and like to meet a neighboring country person, I had to travel like 10,000 kilometers. That was weird to me, actually. Like,
Yeah.
you're right, like it was super weird. But every other person I met were like really lovely, amazing people. I'm not saying it because you're from there, but like I had always felt that my realtor and so many other people like I've met, like amazing people. It's just unfortunate with the kind of things that is going on in the region, but like not for anything. Yeah, I'm not a super big fan of anything that's going on that's not bringing people together, but dividing people. I'm the one where if something brings together, I'll be a part of that. So so I'm not
And
the.
you're
I'll be the last
absolutely,
person to divide. Yeah.
yeah, and you're absolutely right, right? I think division doesn't give you anything. Eventually, everyone has to combine. They have to live together peacefully, like it be Pakistan, India, Middle East. Like, you know what? You can fight for a while, and it's unfortunate people fight. But honestly,
Yeah.
like it's never the people, it's the governments. It's like the top
Yeah.
2% they fight. And then the rest of the 98% of the population, they bear the brunt of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, but anyway, so
Yeah.
it's another long discussion that I don't want to.
It's a long
Uh,
discussion.
it's
So
a long,
so
yeah,
so tell me about like
yeah,
how old were you when you first landed in Canada, and what was that like
yeah, yeah.
flying into Canada?
So I came in when I was, I think, in my late 20s, and a few things that happened right after. Like first thing that happened was Nortel Network was hiring like crazy. I don't know whether you were in Canada or not, in Toronto.
No.
And I was like, oh my god, there were like 10,000 job opens at Nortel, and I'm like, I'll get there, no problem. I'll be hired in 2 minutes with all of my skill sets. And I land in Canada, and that's when the Nortel started to go belly up. And instead of like seeing those 10,000 jobs posted on Nortel's site, because some of my friends were in Nortel as well, all I saw was people getting laid off. Like I think they were laying off, if I'm not mistaken, like 100,000 people a week or something crazy like that. So imagine,
Right.
in a country like
Wow.
Canada, Toronto, 20-25 years back, that 100,000 people are getting
That's a
unemployed
lot.
every. That's a lot of
That's a
people.
big news.
Yeah, yeah. So in the market, like I would start calling my network. Like I was from Oracle and databases, and started to reach out to an Oracle, and it's like, oh my God, we are all home, like jobless now. I'm like, oh damn it. So I was like, you do whatever you do. You do like petty jobs here and there to survive, and you
Got
get
it.
bored as well, right? You have no family here, and you're just staying here, and so
Right.
you kind of survive. And then right after that, 9/11 happened, which was even worse than being jobless, because now you're
Yeah.
stigmatized that you're from a country which is not on the favorite part of the list.
Got
So
it.
a lot of those kind of like stupidity and racism and reverse racism and whatever you want to call it. So,
Yeah.
but you know what? It's like but, yeah, you survive and you learn and you grow, and yeah, you find good people around the way that help you,
Yeah.
and one thing led to another, and then you get your first good job, the second good job, and then you continue building your career.
So growing up, Khurram, so
Mhm.
I've not looked deep into your LinkedIn or anything except like I was like preparing for introduction. How you worked on like a BMO, Scotiabank. That's what
Yeah,
was preparing. So are you from an engineering background or like finance? What's your uh,
yeah.
banking before you got into the started working?
So I did my MBA in finance from
Got it.
Imperial College, which was
Got it.
also a subsidiary of University of Hull, UK.
Got it.
Did my MBA in finance and investments.
Got it.
I always wanted to be a financial analyst, but luckily or unluckily, I think you have a plan, and then your mom and dad has a plan, and God has a plan. So every time God wins.
Yeah.
So it's kind of steered me right into getting my first job in Oracle, my second job with Microsoft, my third job with uh, SAP in Pakistan. I'm like, okay, okay, let's forget about finance for a little while. I think this is more interesting work. But I always
Great.
had a knack of understanding finance. So in the first few years of my life, I just did what I did, right? But then when I came to Canada, now again, God has a plan for me.
Great.
Manulife in business, Scotiabank in business,
Hmm.
the Bank of Montreal in business. So never a technology role. Every time I went into a business role, and then yeah, so I was able to harness my education in finance and investments and economics.
Got it.
And I also did my master's in computer sciences and all the certifications, and also
Got it.
my certification degrees and all my technology background. So, and I remember reading an article I think it was in my MBA or later stage of my MBA, that for the first time a corporation has put a CTO at a board level position, and
Hmm.
and that was a big deal back then, because oh my god, technology people sitting in a boardroom and talking
Right.
strategy and business, and none of that.
Right.
We are called data processing people. So and
Right.
that is why I hated technology in my early years, because the moment you say I want to do something in technology, it means like, okay, here's a server room, sit in a server room, look at that
Right.
code, right, and
Yeah.
make sure it doesn't break, and don't talk to
Right.
anyone, right?
Right.
Just a ticket will be raised for you, you just read the damn ticket and understand what it is and fix it and just move on with your life. And I said,
Yeah.
where are the people? Like, who do I talk to all day? Like, and that's what I
Yeah.
hated about technology. And now like, I think technology comes first and then your business. Technology is dictating what your business strategy should look like, which is funny, right? So in my lifetime, like, it's completely switched from back office data processing server room to all boardroom, and all the data room is in cloud. So now
Yeah.
business and technology sit side by side and make those business strategic long-term decisions, whereas
Yeah.
everything else is in somewhere in with Microsoft or with Google, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So that's why now I like doing a lot of technology business roles, and that is what inspired me to do Caary, because I manage both. So I manage
Right.
everything in this business. As you know,
Right.
like, you consulted with us for a little while. So I used to manage everything. Like
Right.
every decision was kind of like comes to me as a founder and a chief operating officer. So yeah,
Right.
so basically that's how I would answer that question for you.
Got it.
Uh,
Got it.
yeah,
Yeah. No. No. Sure. Thing. It. I'll keep going back to understanding your journey and
yeah,
everything. So I'd love to know about Carrie and love to know about how it started and all of that.
yeah,
Definitely. So I was trying to understand, like, so you were passionate about finance in your early ages, and that's what led you to go and pursue an education in that and things like that. Or was it like finance was your background? Like, did someone in your family also had like the finance thing in their genes or something like that?
unfortunately no. Like my dad
No,
is
you're
is
the
a,
first
was a
one.
mech- is a mechanical and a chemical engineer.
Got it.
Mom is was a housewife like back then.
Got it.
grandparents were also engineers, so they wanted me to become an engineer, like a mechanical engineer. And again, same thing, I'm more like a people's kind of person. So
Mm,
they my dad's tried to steer me into engineering, and I'm like, again, this machinery is great, this
yeah.
plant is great, and where are the people? Like,
Yeah.
like a machine is open and you're trying to fix a machine, which is great. It still adds value to economy, I guess.
Right.
But it's like I'm more like a people's person. I always
Got it.
believe that good people need to come together and create something of value. And
Yeah.
that was my dream from day one, and that wasn't being accomplished being a back office technologist or an engineer.
Right.
So I always believe that there's always a way to do things faster, cleaner, better. And I think over time, technology has become an enabler in that. So whatever I see as an issue, I say, look at it and say, huh, so how can I do it better? And because a lot of the times companies end up spending a lot of technology dollars on a business process which is flawed within itself, right?
Right.
So you need to understand what is wrong. There are only three types of things: either the process is flawed, or the people are not right, or the technology is flawed, right? So every problem has only these three pillars, and you have to see which one of them you need to pull to make this work better, right? So that has
Right.
been my passion. So when I started Caary, I've started a few other businesses as well in the past. Every time
Got
I
it.
look at a problem and try to see how can I do it better, cheaper, faster.
Right. So you
So
always had that like the entrepreneur bug in you to like go solve a problem and like give
yeah.
something of value back to people. I think that you always had that.
And again, again, one of my lifelong dreams is that once I'm done with, I'm working with some other really cool startup as well right now as advisor, and really cool, again, to do with AI and machine learning. Um,
Got it.
but I do want to, before I fold my like my life or whatever, like I do want to do in the end something that is good for humanity,
Got it.
either in terms of sustainable environment, sustainability, or environment, or medicine, or something. I do believe that I think I'm destined to do something in that area as well. It's just that life right now is too busy. Talking of busy, like you mentioned squash. So right now I'm at Canadian Open Junior Squash Tournament.
Oh, there you go.
I'm in the room right now. I've been working in morning, but my kids are playing. And then in the evening, I think at 5 when I finish, that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to run
Got it.
and watch some really good matches, squash matches. So Canada,
Got it. Got it.
I think there's two Canadian kids. I'm hoping that they're going to win, which is great as a Canadian and as a squash dad. Yeah.
That's amazing. You still like are you still in Toronto or like you're traveling right now?
No, I'm right now. I'm in White Oaks, which is Niagara Falls area.
Got it. Got it.
So I'm
Understood.
working from here. Yeah, in the room.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. No, that is great. Squash. I mean, like you and I, we spoke about your journey in Guatemala. We'll get to that in just a bit. So tell me about like the early days, Khurram. You did spend a lot of time in your like late 20s and all of your 30s and 40s. I'm not going to disclose your age by any means, but like, but like you did spend a lot of time in Toronto downtown, and every time you go see the downtown or the King Street, the Union Station or the CN Tower, what comes to your mind?
What comes to my mind is what a great city, what a great country, and and thank God it's Canada. Like it's the safest place to live, safest place. Like my kids go out. Like I'm going to squash tournament in US next week, and I'm dreading it. It's in Pennsylvania. Homeless
Mm,
people everywhere, unsafe. You cannot go and wear out at night in different streets. I live in in the University of Pennsylvania, the number, I think, top 10 universities in the world. You can't even go out after 10. You like there's security guards everywhere. And I thank God every time, and when I look at Toronto downtown, that not only that Canada has become what it is, very diverse. Very diverse, very clean as compared to some of the other cities, and very
right,
safe, right? And we should thank our lucky stars every day that we ended up into a country which actually does give you that sense of security and sense of security and accomplishment and peace of mind. which
Got
other
it.
countries do not, unfortunately. So
Got it.
that's
Got
what
it.
comes to my
Understood.
mind.
Understood.
Yeah.
Yeah. For anyone listening, and who was trying to understand, because the financial scene is very different in Wall Street versus like
Mhm.
in streets of London and like in streets of Hong Kong, it's very different. How would you explain the financial scene of Canada, especially Toronto, right? And that's where you spend most of your time with.
Yeah.
How would you explain it for anyone listening or trying to observe it?
Um. So I'll. So from the big banks, honestly, the scale is just like 10 times like everywhere in US. It's the same.
Hmm.
Again, it's like we kind of think that US is some big bad machinery, and in some cases, in some sectors, it is. But financially, it's just the volume. It's like the population is 10 times the size, so everything multiplies by 10. They have the same issues, like same legacy technology issues, or my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, they're both in banking in US. And I hear them talk, and same issues, Vijayan, no difference. It's just the scale is
Hmm.
different, right? Just the scale is different.
Right.
And I sit on some really cool, I meet some really cool financial executives as well over time. Same issues, Vijay, and there's no difference between Canada and US in terms of, I'm talking about big banks right now,
Yeah.
not
Of
the
course. Yeah.
fintechs, and we'll talk about fintech as
Sh-
well.
sure thing.
But
Yeah.
big banks, same issues, same issues, just the difference is the scale. Um,
Hmm.
Now, in terms of fintech, that is where there's a huge difference, right? In US, like if I have a really good idea, raising like $1 or $2 million is a
Hmm.
dorm room. It's literally I don't have to get out of my dorm room. If I have a really
Right.
good idea, I just have to knock. Actually, one of my really good friends from Stanford, he was telling me a story. He said, I was in my dorm room. I came up with an idea. I texted some of my friends in the dorm, and one of the guy goes
Right.
like, "Oh, do you remember that other guy? He just sold his company for like $200 million, right?
Right.
He is sitting in a lot of cash. Why don't you call him?" And
Yeah.
he said, I kid you not, I found his number through internal network. Reached out to him, and the guy goes like, I'm sitting at a coffee shop. Like, come over and explain me what you want to do. So he went there, he explained it to him. He's like, yeah, that seems like a really good idea. He said, did not look at my pitch deck. He just knew that I'm from Stanford. Did not look at the idea. Did not ask me any questions. Wrote a check of 200,000 bucks, right
There you
on the
go.
spot. There you go,
Yeah.
and go and run with it. And the guy was like, it's like, really, it's like, no, 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 you need to, the money, where is the money go? Is it in the trust account? You haven't done your, he said, don't worry about it, just do it. You're from Stanford, I know who you are, you came through a good friend, so I know that you're not going to take my money and run with it, you're going to do something of value. That would never happen in Canada, ever.
Mm.
Right? Well, it has. I've seen it happen once. One of my friends used to do that when he made
Right.
like 100 million in cannabis, and he used to write checks for like $100,000 sitting in a bar. But
Right.
those days come far and away, right? So it's not that. But in US, it's so much wealth. Like some of these
Mm.
tech guys who have sold their companies in the last 10 years are sitting on so
Right.
much capital, and these are younger generations, so these are not the older, like I don't want to stigmatize any of the old people, but the problem with any of the old people in their late 70s 80s, whatever wealth they have accumulated, they don't ever want to share with anyone. They just want to sit with
Right.
it thinking my next generation is going to benefit from it. Whereas if I make like say $50 million in my next startup, um, I'll try to probably enable another like 50 more startups from that 50 million, because I know that I don't need like $10 million a year to
Right.
survive. I need a few hundred thousand. My friend, I'll still be friends with you. Everything remains the same. I'm not going to buy myself like at like a $10 million house, because I don't see a value in it. So I would rather give that money back in terms of entrepreneurship, to a whole bunch of entrepreneurs like myself, and try to save the world or try to do something good with that money. Whereas the money that has been made through in US and even in India and Pakistan and all those like really rich countries, the money just sits there, does nothing, right?
Right.
And which is unfortunate, right? So I think I truly believe that the younger generation, even my kids, if you talk to them, do you want a big house? No, I just don't need a good enough house. Do you need to
Right.
buy a big car? No, right? I just want to travel. Very different
Right.
mindset, right? Here
Yeah.
and in US, right? So I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I'm very hopeful about the future. I think the money is going to the right hands, especially in the developed countries. Now in Pakistan and India, it's still a crapshoot. Like money is going to all the wrong hands. But in
Right.
Canada and US, especially, I think the money is flowing toward the right kind of people with the right mindset, and I'm very hopeful that in the long term we will benefiting from all of this, yeah,
Got it.
money flowing to the right
Got it.
place.
Got it.
Yeah,
The- I mean, if I don't know what is stopping. I think it's a beautiful country, Canada. I hear similar stories from Australia as well. It's a beautiful country.
yeah,
It's Commonwealth again, right? I mean, like New Zealand and all these countries. Like I don't know why it wants to stigmatize with the red taping and bureaucracy and so many regulations. It doesn't clearly seem to help the country either, or the people, or the institutions, or the companies that being created. And I'm seeing like new Silicon Valleys being born outside of the US as well, in the Middle East and Dubai and others, and El Salvador and so many other, like the way they're finding ways to cut regulation. Like for example, in Argentina, they closed down a bunch of institutions, right? Like, okay, why are you wasting money? Instead of like hyperinflating the currency, let's shut down 30 institutions which is not doing anything but
yeah,
like bureaucracy, right? So I don't know why people are putting up with it, like with the red tape and all of it, because like I've clearly I've spent like a good enough time with, like I was there in the US for about 5 years. I've traveled all of the country. I have good friends from the Silicon Valley Bay Area as well. There are a lot of good things, but or something, there's also like they 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 took $15 billion to just build 500 meters of like a railway or something. There is a the long story short is they were trying to build a railway between like San Francisco and LA, and $15 billion or something. The number I could be wrong with it, but it's more than $10 billion. It was poured in, and only 500 meters of railway was built, right? So that is plain stupidity to me. I mean, like it's basically all the money has gone to, I don't know if people have to guess, probably to bureaucracy and consultants, right? So it is gone. It is not helping anyone either. So I do, but I love the ecosystem that they have created in terms of the startup culture. You have an idea, oh, go here, here's your $1 million, go run with it, go try to do something with it. Maybe it works, it doesn't work. So we have seen all the good and bad of that as well. Yeah, I always wonder why, in terms of the regulation, the way they look at capital gains and things like that, it clearly doesn't seem to help the country.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, again, I think change of guards is always necessary, right? Because
Yeah,
what worked 20 years back,
yeah,
unfortunately, is not going to work 20 years in the future, right?
right, right,
In 5 years, even I might be, you and I might be obsolete, right? The way we are thinking stuff, right? Things might
right.
go faster, right? If you look at some of the innovation that unfortunately through COVID happened. Like, imagine before COVID, you are saying, talking to your boss, and can I work from home? No, if you work from home, the company is going to shut down, everything is going to close, your productivity
Yeah,
is not going to be good. COVID happened, everyone started to work from home, productivity went up by 30% because now
right.
you're not spending time commuting and getting sick, right?
Yeah,
Like again, having said that, you still need to go back to the office because you need to co-locate, and create and innovate, and all those the things are
of course.
important if you don't have the personal connection. But that was a fallacy. Like, people thought that working from home is a bad thing. Now working from home is a great thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately there's consequence, pros and cons to everything. The biggest con is your real estate, commercial real estate is suffering now. No one wants to go back to
Mm,
work. It's too expensive to sustain that thing. And but the thing is that that was a complete BS, that you cannot work from home. So I think same
got
things
it.
that we have to look at. Honestly, Vijayan, the biggest I think the one thing that Canada has done well, again, I don't want to bash Canada, but one thing they've done really well is their education ecosystem, right? Like our queens, our universities, UFT, they are still top-notch universities at a very good price, right?
Right.
For Canadians. So the future generation of Canadians will be educated by the top-notch universities. In US, it's really, really bad, right? If you are not well off, you can't go to university. Even if you do go to university,
Right.
you are in loan for half of your productive life. Another half you are
Yeah.
paying off your mortgage. So it's such a
That's right.
bad way to live life, right? So thank God, I
Yeah.
think again, I don't know, like Canada is Canada, like they'll do their own
Yeah.
decisions. But if I were to ever run Canada, I look at things which are doing really
Yeah.
well. And first of
Got it.
all, put more focus on it to make it even better, best in the world. Like our
Got it.
undergrad education system, great. Our healthcare system, yeah, sure, it's not working well for most of the people, but remember, it's still free, right, in many aspects, right? So
Right.
what can we do
Right.
to make it better? In the end, Canada has to be the place which can attract the best talent in the world. A kid born in Argentina growing up needs to view Canada as a country to go to. Like
Right.
same with Bhutan, same like, and this is how US is the number one country. Like they have done really well for themselves. That you can be in New York driving cab all your life, but when you go to Pakistan, you say, "Oh my God, I live in New York," and people say, "Oh wow, you live in New York," but you can be living in like some ghetto in New York driving a cab. But the thing is there, right? So I think Canada needs to do like just focus on their again undergrad, their healthcare, and
Mm.
their natural resources. I think these and their safety and security, right? If they pull enough marketing into these four factions, and everyone in the world is wants to come here, and then we pick and choose, and then we say, okay, so the best of Khurrams and the best of Vijayan, who are where we are lacking, let's bring those resources in and continue to build this country to the best we can, right? But
Got it.
again, who
Got
am
it.
I to say these things? I'm a technologist and an entrepreneur. I don't know how to run countries,
Oh no,
right?
no, 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 no. This is what I've. I mean, like I could be completely wrong with this, Kuram. In terms of like society and the way it is evolving, right? I mean, in most of like in many parts of the world, I mean, like including India and Pakistan or Bangladesh, things like that. Even though they call themselves like quote unquote democracy, there is no real like freedom of expression or freedom of speech and none of it,
Yeah,
right? But one thing that cannot be taken away. I mean, these are like rights of like God given rights. I mean, you're able to speak, say hello, good morning, whatever it is. Like,
yeah,
I'm not feeling well, I'm feeling great. Oh, that he's a great leader. Oh, he's not a great leader, right? I think people should be able to speak their mind, and because everywhere you see in the society there are ways to shut down people, right? They're in different ways, right? There are ways to shut down people, whether it's like the university or the society or whatever it is. They're trying to shut down people. I think that is one of the reasons that like maybe podcasts are doing really well, is because like people are trying to at least like it is an attempt to at least like go speak your mind at the least of it. I mean, the traditional media did a huge disservice in terms of like not informing people of like what they should be informing actually, but they were actually like, yeah, they, I don't know, they were trying to play a role or not a role, I don't really know, but I can definitely sense a slow death of the mainstream media big time.
yeah,
Right? Because CNN, for instance, they launched a premium subscription service worth $300 million, and no one subscribed to it. And within 3 months, it was shut down. Right? CNN is the number one, well, or used to be the number one cable news. Right? So, and no one is buying their service because like no one is watching it. And the conversation with I don't know, with the presidents or things like that on Twitter or like Joe Rogans of the world, they're getting like 200 millions views and things like that, right? So people are really like so done with the BS, so they're tired of it actually. So
yeah,
and I think the real media will be the people, right? Because like, oh, what do you think? What's happening in Brampton? So it's better to like for people living in Brampton to basically say, oh, here's what is happening. Oh, what's
yeah,
happening in Edmonton? Oh, this is what is happening. It's super cold right now. Okay, right? I mean, that's where I come from. In terms of like, I think people are more empowered than they think they are, and the people are super good. Like 99% of people are really good. There's like 0.1% of the elements who want to do crazy stuff, but 99% of people are actually, at least I've seen and met, are like they are really good people. Like
oh
that's
yeah.
my worldview.
No, no, and that is, I agree with that worldview. I think that's what I'm saying, right? What was relevant in the last 10, 15 years is not relevant
Yeah,
anymore, right?
yeah,
And people are getting smarter thanks to social media. People are getting informed. Like if someone is getting there's a genocide happening in this world,
yeah,
people see it live,
yeah.
right? And you cannot stop it. So you cannot say that it never happened. It has happened, and there's a proof for it. I think the next step is that countries need to come together and start challenging some of the status quos that global favoritism is still a problem, right?
Right,
So I think once there are some bad players in this world. I think once they go away or they are subdued or they are not there anymore, I think the
right.
world is going to become a better place. 100%.
Right, right.
Very optimistic.
Sure. I'd love to like segue into a different
Sure.
world into fintech. So from the Wall Streets, the shift is slowly shifting to the West. I don't know if it's Silicon Valley or whatever. It's slowly moving from the financial capital to the technology capital. So I think that's a good like conjunction of two words like fintech. Like how do you see that space evolving? Especially I know like you've innovated in the space and whatnot.
So I okay. So the prob not the problem. The thing is, the reality of the thing is that why do banks exist? Banks exist that
Mm,
if I have $1 million, I cannot have that $1 million under my mattress, right?
right,
Because I'll be scared that someone is going to come and take this from me, right? If I'm
right.
$100 million, that's a bigger problem, right? So that's why basically that's
Mm,
why you need the banks, right? You're banking
yeah,
your money, you're banking
yeah.
your future in someone's else's thing, and this is secured for you. So this is why the banks exist. Now over time,
Right.
banks have become way more innovative, and they started to give a little bit of interest on it. Um, but then this whole bunch of investment banking, where's the derivatives market, and like no one even knows how to value them and how much is the financial sector on risk. Like every time you talk to a guru and say, so how much do you think is risk in derivatives, and they give you a number which is always in trillions. And I
Mm,
always think that okay, if one of these days, if one of those derived or derivative products fail and there's $1 trillion loss in the market, like the financial
right,
crisis in 2007,
right,
what's going to happen to my deposit, my all my life worth of work, which is sitting in a bank somewhere, right?
right,
um, like no one knew that Bernstein's will go belly up, or Merrill Lynch would not exist. Like
right.
I actually was, when I first moved to Canada, I had a little bit of money and I actually went to Merrill Lynch, and I was talking to them about depositing whatever my parents have into Merrill Lynch. And thank God I did not. But the thing is, that's the problem, right? So that's what the banks exist. Now, over time, to manage all of this extreme wealth, they need technology, because you
Mm,
cannot just go and get a deposit slip and let's stay in the line to
right.
deposit your money. So you
100%.
need a vehicle. So technology becomes an enabler to
Right,
service the banking customers, right?
right.
So and then and now it has become like technology first. Basically, if you think about it, technology first is not changing what banks do. They still
Mm,
just are custodian of your money, right?
right, right,
Right. Basically, that's what they're doing in the end. Yeah, they have like some really cool like loan products or car products or car loan products. That's all good, or credit card or specs management and whatnot. But the banks
yeah.
will always exist, because
Mm,
as much as I love Microsoft, Google, Facebook, and those guys, I would never keep my RRSP with those guys, right? Because
mm,
in the end, I still believe that if Mark Zuckerberg makes a huge mistake
yeah.
with
Which he
someone,
could, I mean,
which anyone could, or Elon
yeah,
Musk makes a huge mistake on in
yeah,
Tesla, my money
yeah,
is going to be safe, right? I
yeah.
still need those bankers, where I look at my life, 50 years of hard work, and say, where's my money when I retire?
Got it.
Like I get it. So the banking would still exist. Now, that's to me, that's fintech. That's fin of the right. That's
Mm,
finance. Now the
right,
tech will always needs to coexist with fin. You cannot live without them, right? There
Yeah.
are some cases, like if you look at any of the Brexes or like Rams or any of the forward-looking technology companies, they are still being underwritten by a bank, right? That they need balance
Mm.
sheet, they need money
Right.
to lend out, and that would still be a bank, because I would never open up an account with Brex. Well, never say never, but at this stage, because I don't understand what their credit risk policy is. Like how
Right.
are they putting my money on casino, in a casino, or they are using it
Right.
to give out a loan to a credible person like you to buy a house, right? So I think
Yeah.
those things are great. Not one is going to overtake the other one. I think they're always going to be yin and a yang. So
Yeah.
uh, if if the bank stops servicing their customers by not transforming their technology, then people are going to get fed up and starts going to fintechs and saying, can you service me better? Can you create a technology
Mm.
platform me for me to like do my banking? And Canadian banks are the best at it. Like, try sending like $50,000 to somewhere in this
Yeah.
world. It's, oh my
Yeah.
God! Like they look at you as if they've never talked to you. Like,
Yeah.
and I used to joke to my banker and say, you do understand that I am a director in your bank, right? So
Yeah.
when you ask me what's happening with the money, it's, you know that I'm a director in your
Yeah.
bank and you're treating me, so I
Right.
think that is where I think where they kind of play. And I think it's a healthy competition. I think both of them
Mm.
should uh, both of them should do service each other, and it's a healthy competition, because in the end the customers like you and I, we end up benefiting from it, right?
Got it.
So
Yeah.
that's my point of view. I think they'll continue to have there should continue to be a little bit of healthy competition between two of them, and let's continue to innovate together, right? There is no
Got
winners
it.
there, in my opinion, right?
Got it. Got it. Got it. So the
Yeah.
where does like so what were the like the seed conversation of like the Caary how did Caary evolve and what problem were you trying to solve when you initially started having that
So
conversation?
so Carry evolved because Carry evolved because I'm an entrepreneur myself. So we started to solve our own problems initially when we raised millions of dollars in different businesses. I would always go
Right.
back to a bank and say, I need a credit card, because you can now spend everything on credit card. You can make points or
Right.
interchange. And they always used to say, oh, well, we'll issue you a credit card, but it'll be a personal liability credit card. So I said, but
Mm.
why would I have a personal liability when I've got 10 million in the account, and the business is spending this money? Well, they would not give me that money. So I was said, okay, so that's one problem. So when we started to launch Carry, it was a truly non-personalized, it was a completely business-like loan. So you are not
Right.
personally liable for it. So we're indemnifying you. The second thing was, of course, the very frictionless onboarding. So
Mm.
people can submit their application within 5 minutes. There was actually a use case where a small business submitted their application in less than 5 minutes. They were approved in less than 5 minutes, and they
Mm.
were spending in less than 5 minutes. So
Oh
imagine
wow.
in less than 15 minutes, and it came through a trusted for, and the guy was a very, very well off individual. He knew the founder, but we were able to do their KYC, KYB, their open banking, everything, issue him a loan of $10,000. And through digital card, he was spending in within 5 minutes. And he was in an awe because he said, and he was a very wealthy individual. He's been banking with one of the big banks in Canada. It's like, never in my life in less than 15 minutes that I'll be able to
Mm.
do what I was able to do with you guys.
Got
And
it.
that was our main value proposition, like very, very secure, low risk, very credible small businesses in Canada, which are underserved. Let's serve them well. Um,
Got it.
and and do all kind of expense management, like receipt capture, accounting integration, blah blah blah. All of these bells and whistles should be part of the platform. So this is what we ended up doing, right?
Right. Right. Got it. Got it. No, so that's an important problem because like getting access to capital, getting access to like especially from a
Yeah,
business point of view, has always been a challenge. I found it myself like to get a credit card for the business was a challenge, and they would
yeah,
ask like 200 questions over the board, and like you'll most likely not get the credit card, like right,
yeah.
or it would take
Oh, yeah,
years
yeah,
even before they approve it.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I think that is fundamentally a great problem to be solved. And I've always told you like it is a no brainer solution. They have to go and apply for the credit card and get the loan, right? I mean,
yeah,
like you and I we have spoken about it before, because like business who need it, they need access to capital as quickly as they can,
yeah.
and because I don't see the banks innovating on that speed. Of course, they will come up with a solution probably in 20 years. I don't know, but like I think that currently in the fintech space, I think that's the kind of innovation that you're bringing, with like easily like the taxation and all of the bills and everything that comes in the platform. Correct?
Yeah. Yeah. And then
Yeah,
we
yeah.
we were also had a loan origination, like term loan products as well,
Right.
part of the platform. So we were building in it, but right now we are in a pivoting mode. So we have built a technology which is really meaningful. So now I want to, um, I'm going to the banks and saying, look, we have built something which is really cool. Um, Give me your customers, give me a balance sheet, give me your license, and I'll service your customer in the best way possible. And I'm seeing a lot of very good conversations happening. So hopefully soon we'll give you some good news. And we
That's good.
relaunch Caary with a truly a big banking partner.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah,
Good things coming. So I'm
I
definitely
hope.
excited for it. Being in the financial world, Kuram, I mean, like you tell me. I mean, like sometimes the financial world could be slightly extreme, uh, but like what keeps you centered, uh, right? Because like there are like good, bad, and ugly in every industry, and then I'm sure the financial world, when especially when you're dealing with like capital and millions of dollars involved, and sometimes it could get extreme. But you need to have like a moral compass, like to keep going, right? So how do you bring that in your
So
life and every day?
yeah, yeah, no, that's a good thing. I think you need to understand in your life what is important and what is not important. Your family is
Right.
important, your health is important, you doing the right things in the world is important. And if you have and you do the right things for the right reasons is important. You try to make your life better and life of people around you better, including your co-workers. And the employer that you work for, you are actually trying to make them better, right, in
Mm.
whatever way, shape, or form. I think if this is what your mindset is, it doesn't matter what role you do in financial sector or non-financial sector, you'll always be successful because there are so many factors that are not in your control, but these are the factors you can only control yourself in this world. All right, so as long as you have that mindset of doing things right, and you're an ethical person, an honest person, and a hardworking person, I think it's bound to happen. So yeah, that keeps me motivated, centered in life. And again, like there's a lot of noise out there as well in banking sector. You just have to cut through the noise. These are just small obstacle in your main goal, right? So you always keep your
Mm.
eye on the main goal. What is your main goal? If your main goal is, I'm going to make my life better, my colleagues life better, Vijayan life better, right? Day to day, you lose a job, you have problems in the business, car doesn't work, data, like there's always going to be problems in
Yeah.
life, right? But as long as you're focused in a big picture and achieving something really truly big,
Got it.
just everything else disappears, right? You just
Yeah.
look at the
The
end.
vision
And
and the mission and the end goal, as long as you
yeah,
have that figured out and then keep running towards it. Got
yeah.
it. Got it. I'll just going to segue into a different section. I'm just going to try drawing something cool, and you're going to tell me what you want to be, what you want to draw, and we'll try to draw that with AI, and then we'll have a question around it. So what do you need to be drawn? Could be anything crazy.
Okay. um I like what, like a kind of abstract painting or anything.
Anything, yeah. I don't know if you want your Mercedes in Mars, go for it. I mean,
I want to draw um, a map of Canada with all of its natural resources highlighted.
yeah.
Yeah, let's see what comes up.
Okay, let's see what comes up. This
You're
is the
making
first
it
time
think.
we are we're trying. Okay, yeah, it came. We are trying something like this. Okay, so uh, two images came. So let's see. Let me open it. Yeah, it gives you a bunch of stuff. It gives you like overall view of Canada. I think North America, I guess in this case,
Yeah,
and it's trying to give something. And
super cool.
yeah, there. Yeah, super cool. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, okay, maybe we should draw one more picture. What comes to your mind, like when you first think of Canada and all the beauty and the natural resources that it has?
So I think what comes to my mind is I just want to be grateful to God that we live in a country which has got such beautiful natural resources. And once I have
Right.
a little bit of more time on my hand,
Yeah.
when I'm done with all of my startups and life journeys, and the kids are off to a university, do want to go and travel this country end to end, and
Got it.
see what God has given us, right? So that's my
Got it. Got it.
one of the goals.
Got it. We will try drawing maybe one more, and then we will segue into a different section. So, is there anything else you wanna try
Draw
drawing?
me a draw me a car that can fly from Oakville to Toronto.
Oh yeah, I can fly from specifically from Oakville. Okay,
Well,
maybe.
that's where else would I go?
Yeah. How about the GO train? I mean,
Yeah.
oh, see, there you go. It's that's your car, Kuram.
Okay.
I mean, you can see the CN Tower behind.
Uh, yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah.
car is, I don't know whether it's going to be able to fly or not. The wings seems a little too small. For a
It-
car is beautiful. Like,
yeah, it is
yeah,
beautiful. I mean, like speaking of cars, like what is
this is a
your
nice car.
favorite car or like car that you aspire to can't wait to buy?
Honestly, I'm not a car person. If you
You're
ask
not?
me
Okay.
if you have like $500,000 and say, okay, go and buy yourself a car,
Yeah.
honestly, I don't care. I would rather buy a car that I can park and sleep well, rather
Yeah.
buying a car which is gives me a stress every time that someone is scratching it or someone is trying to steal it. Honestly, like
Yeah.
I'm not a car person at all.
Got it. Got it. Okay. No,
Yeah,
that was fun. We just wanted to do like an AI drawings section. Let someone to see how it came out. So I just had this
sure.
thought like 10 minutes before we started the podcast. Okay, let's do it. I mean,
Why not?
try something new. Try something new. I didn't know about your time thing. So you have like 5 minutes to
Sorry.
close.
Yeah, I just have to run. Remember, I'm at the squash tournament, right? So this is 5:20 now. So I have to go and watch some of the kids play. Hopefully, we go Canada, go, we win, and
Got it.
so that's what I'm gonna go and see. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Perfect. So here's a list of like last few questions that I wanted
sure,
to. I have a lot of the questions that we didn't get into. It's probably on a 30-40 minutes of conversation. Maybe part two in a
sure.
different day.
Yeah,
It's totally cool. So I'm just trying to get to your like your rapid fire question just to get to know you a little bit, and
sure.
then you can share a short word of phrase. Okay. So your favorite book that you want to share with anyone, like the book that like changed your life or something that you will recommend anyone reading.
Elon Musk's memoir, like I forgot the name, but it's about Elon Musk
Got it.
and the risk that he took. A freaking amazing book.
Got it. If you have to meet one historical figure or like a figure like anyone that you aspire, like who would you like to meet and probably have dinner with?
Oh, maybe Nelson Mandela.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Are you like a red wine or a white wine person?
I used to be a red wine person, then I stopped drinking completely. So I don't drink
Got it.
anything.
That's how about coffee or tea? Like,
Oh
what's
yeah,
your
I drink
go-to?
tea like 10 times a day. Yeah,
You're a
black
tea
tea.
person. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Got it. Is there a favorite movie of all time at all that you can keep watching over and over again?
Yes, a few of them. Godfather. Um, Godfather is one of my favorite ones. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. If there is ethics or profit, which one should come first when it comes to
100%,
business?
100% ethics.
Got it. What is the leadership style that you admire most?
Leading from behind.
Got it. Got it. What is something that you have like changed your mind about like entirely recently? Could be in the last 5 years, 10 years,
I think COVID did
any
a
particular
good
thing.
reset. COVID did a very good reset of the life and makes you understand what the
Mm,
priority is. We're seeing all the deaths around the world.
got it. This is probably the last, like, second last question. So if you have to like give one piece of advice, either to your younger self or to the future younger generation, what would you like to share?
Don't waste time on things that can be done differently, right? Time is precious. Every minute that you have, you need to find your passion earlier on and continue to work on it and never second guess yourself. Always believe that there's a way to do things your way, and things universe comes around and helps you if you believe in yourself. So never stop believing in yourself, but the end result has to be meaningful, and it has to be humane, and God always helps you and the world also helps you.
Got it. And Kurum, where can people find you? Will it be LinkedIn or?
LinkedIn is the best way to find me. I'm always try to be there at least a couple of times a day.
Okay, that brings us to the wrap. And thanks, Kuram. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it. I always love to
Thank you.
chat with you. So it was an
Thank you.
absolute pleasure to go deep dive a little bit. Maybe we should do a part two. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
100%. Yeah, we should do a part two. Like maybe in the holidays. In the holidays, we should
Sure, sure,
try to
sure.
do a part two.
We'll do it. Thank you, Kuram. I appreciate.
Thank you
Have a
very
wonderful
much.
New Year. Can't wait to release this episode. Thank you. Bye now.
Thank you very much. See ya.